Good evening, and welcome everyone who's joining us in the meeting today, and those of you who are joining us by Facebook or any other social media. Welcome to Marlboro County Branch NAACP Virtual Political Forum. This forum is an opportunity for the candidates seeking the office of Sheriff and Clerk of Court to share why they are seeking to serve you. I will now introduce our panelists. We have Mr. Sammy Crosland, Ms. Anita Williams, Mr. James Paulin, Ms. Shaquita Pegues, Mr. Corrine Lyles, Mr. Henry Love, and Representative Patricia Hennigan. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Now, also, I want to say to everyone that I'm glad that you are joining us again. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Shaquita Pegues, who will serve as the moderator for this event. Ms. Pegues.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lawson. As Ms. Lawson mentioned, tonight we are just going to take a few minutes to learn a little bit more about the candidates who are seeking office here in Marlboro County. I want to remind you that these first couple of questions that we ask, if you will take about 4 minutes just to respond to the question. And also remember that if you have yourself on mute, please be sure to take yourselves off of mute before you begin to speak. So we'll start tonight by telling us a little bit about yourself, anything that you would like for us to know. Talk a little bit about your platform and why you are seeking office. And if you can tonight, let's start with Mr. Love. Will you start us off tonight?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Henry Love. I got my start in law enforcement in Dillon County. My last couple of years, I was in law enforcement, transferred up here to with the city of Bennettsville. My platform for running for sheriff is simple. I got a few things that I want to do if I'm elected as sheriff. First is I want to divide the county into 3 zones. 3 working zones: Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. I want to assign deputies to each zone, and in those 3 zones, they responsible for those zones, and those zones are owners. Second, I'd like to do SROs in each school, and add to the high school to work hand in hand with the city police department with their school resource officers. I'd like to start a multi-county task force to handle the high crime rates in our county, but also help out with other counties, because crime don't know, county lines, borders. I'd like to supply our deputies with up-to-date equipment and training, adjust the pay scale and rank to get quality and more experienced officers. I start a program to have reserve deputies and class 3 officers to help with church security, working events within the county, and also back up our road deputies so we put more officers on the street. I'd like to start a crime watch program in the county, and with that, it would meet with community, leaders in that community to discuss what's going on in the community and what the sheriff's office is doing, and where everybody work hand in hand. I would like to have an open door policy and transparency with the community, where they can come in and talk to the sheriff's department anytime they need to without having to have an appointment. Assign several members of the Sheriff's Detective Division to the FBI, U.S. Marshals, and ATF federal task forces. That way we could use federal grants and money and stuff to better our officers and be able to combat crime with that. I'd like to apply for federal and state grants to save the taxpayers money. Start a sheriff's department summer program for the county youth to keep our children off the streets during this summertime, and to do more stuff with our youth. I like to start with the jail and start housing federal inmates. With the federal inmates, we will be able to get money from the federal government will be able to better pay for the corrections officers and improve the jailhouse.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Love.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Pauling, can we hear from you?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My platform includes dividing the county into 4 equal parts, assigning deputies to each of these zones so that we could cut down on our response time, help maintain greater accountability. We can cut down on vehicle maintenance, wear and tear, save on fuel. We'll be able to move this money from that particular line item over to areas where we really need them. We have a safe schools plan, which includes bringing prayer back to our schools. We have a plan to help those who are struggling with drugs and alcohol. We are going to work hand in hand with a Christian Rehabilitation Center, which will offer help to those struggling with addictions for no less than 6 months at a time. That way these individuals will have a real opportunity to get clean and get back into society. We have a plan to help those who struggle with mental illness. We have a plan to better work with our communities by going to community policing. In accordance with separating the county into 4 equal parts, we then assign the deputies to each area. They'll be knocking on doors, introducing themselves to their community. They'll be holding community meetings once a month. At those meetings, the community will then open what's called a problem-solving kit, which will allow them to identify the problems that affect their particular neighborhoods so that we can come together with that community to better serve them. It's all about enhancing the quality of life. I look forward to working with all the department heads in Marlboro County so that we can attract jobs to this area. One of our biggest problems is the unemployment rate. And if we can do something about the unemployment rate, do something about the drugs and alcohol, I think we can enhance the quality of life for all of our citizens, not just some. And that's part of my platform in a nutshell, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Pauling. Mr.
Okay.
Crosland, can we hear from you?
My name is Sammy Crosland. I'm a proud student of Marlboro County High School, graduate of 1990 class. My platform is simple also. As a candidate of Marlboro County Sheriff, it is my goal to answer questions, address concerns, and enhance the quality of life for the residents of our great community. My aim for each person is to be comfortable with their own neighborhood, for which they regain the trust in all law enforcement agencies. It is stated all residents should rely upon sheriff deputies to render a just and fair service throughout the community, and that they will conduct themselves in a professional and courteous manner at all times. Marlboro County residents can depend on me to be answerable to the actions of myself and my staff, and I expect them to hold my entire office accountable for doing the right thing, no matter what the situation is. I pledge to partner with community leaders in order to achieve effective wellness for the youth and elderly adults, as well as participate with various local and state organizations to advocate for positive solutions for the homeless, people with mental health issues, and domestic violence victims. I will also focus on developing youth mentoring programs, child support solutions, handgun awareness, and other programs that will be great to benefit Marlboro County residents. As your sheriff, I will commit to serving to the community with the same high degree of integrity you have come to expect from me over the last 23 years serving at the Bentonville Police Department. I will hold myself to the highest standards and will expect those serving with me to do so as well. Finally, it's important for everyone to understand the law enforcement team I will build perform these duties throughout the community, guided by 4 key principles. Number 1, by being trustworthy, allowing all residents to have faith and trust in the fact that I will do what is best for our neighborhood and our community. Being transparent, so there is no question to what decisions are being made and how they will be better for those who will serve. Dedication, giving all my heart, mind, and soul, spirits, and supporting all the residents of Marlboro County. Loyalty, by committing myself to serve without hesitation by putting forth the best effort to help those in need at all times.
Thank you, Mr. Crosland. Ms. Williams, can we hear from you? Remember to take yourself off mute, Ms. Williams. Thank you.
Okay, I'm new to this. Okay, I'm Joy Williams. I am running for clerk of court. I have already served one term as clerk. I've worked in the clerk's office for 35 years, and I have another 5 years of legal experience in a law firm, two different times. Prior to being elected, I was the chief deputy clerk up under Mr. Funderburk for 20 years, a deputy clerk under Charlie Usher for many years prior to that. I've worked every job in this office, and I know what it takes to accommodate the public and what the public expects from an elected official and from their staff. The staff in the offices are all cross-trained, so if one person is out, there's always somebody here to work with the public to help them. I would continue with the open door policy that we've always had for many, many years in here. I have this experience and the knowledge to be your clerk of court. I have an associate's degree in criminal justice. I'm a member of the National Technical Honor Society. I enjoy studying the history of the county, reading about the history of the county. I'm a member of the Clerks Association. I've worked for quite a while, many years, back and forth with the state, trying to get this this new child support system in that they call PACS.
Right.
It was started many years ago, and until this past year, was recently installed. Me and my staff, we've gone to Columbia and Florence. We've had extensive training in it. There's another family court program coming, which we will also be having to go and stay in Columbia for a while to learn that program. I love doing what I do. I enjoy the public. I do everything I can to help them. And I just enjoy being in the clerk's office. I have just been here in the court system since I was 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask for people to vote and support me. And I'll try to continue improving the responsibilities and the technology of the clerk's office, working with the state. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. Last but certainly not least, Mr. Lyles.
Yes, how y'all doing?
Doing good, thank you.
For those who don't know me, my name is Kareem Lyles. I've been living in Marlboro County most of my life. I developed a passion for community service at a very young age, working with my grandmother, doing things like delivering Thanksgiving dinners since I was in high school over 10 years ago, helping with bike and toy drives that she hosts every year. I've been involved in politics in different capacities, from completing an internship with the Congressional Black Caucus Institute in Washington, D.C., to work in different campaigns, serving as an officer with the Marlboro County Democratic Party, which I currently am elected as the first vice chair. While working with the Democratic Party, I was able to achieve small victories, like bringing statewide candidates here to Marlboro County, raising issues with the state party and different committees that affect areas like Marlboro County. So I've always been fighting for the people of Marlboro County and working for the people of Marlboro County. I attended Northeastern Technical College, where I got my associate degree. I transferred to Coastal Carolina for a bachelor's in political science. I got a master's in education from FMU, and I'm currently attending Gardner-Webb University for a certificate in executive leadership studies. And if I'm elected your clerk of court, I will continue to work for the people of Marlboro County, using all of my skills in education to help progress Marlboro County, focusing on things like innovation and customer service. My vision for Marlboro County is to help create an environment where elected officials are present beyond their job duties. If I'm chosen to be the next clerk of court, I will continue to support different community initiatives that greatly benefit those in need. My two target areas of improvement would be efficiency and customer service, and conduct some type of gap analysis to identify the specific shortfalls of operations under the responsibility of the clerk. I would look at technology, material costs, opportunity costs, and develop a plan to address the shortfalls with the staff. And I will also focus hard on customer service. Customer service is important whenever you're working in a community organization or for the government in that matter. Your job is to serve the public. So I would develop some type of program, a reward system within the clerk's office where we promote customer service through having like a staff of the week, staff of the quarter, staff of the year, stuff like that to increase the efficiency of the clerk's office. And so I'm here giving myself to the people of Marlboro County. I didn't have opportunity to spend that much time in the clerk's office, to get hired at age and work my way up. But I have my skills in the clerk's office.
Thank you, Mr. Lyles. And again, thank you, candidates, as well, for your very thorough responses. I want us to go a little bit deeper into the offices that you are seeking. If you are elected into your specific office, talk to us a little bit about your understanding of your roles and responsibilities if elected. I want to start with our sheriff candidates. Mr. Pauling, can you start and talk to us a little bit about your roles and responsibilities if you were to be elected sheriff?
Well, I believe as sheriff, my role would be to enhance the quality of life for all the citizens of Marlboro County. In doing so, we would develop programs to help individuals, as I stated earlier, who are struggling with drugs and alcohol. These problems contribute to our crime rate. We would develop plans that would help individuals who are also struggling to pay their child support. I don't believe that everyone who's not paying their child support should lose their driver's license and therefore are unable to work and earn a living so that they can pay their support. Now, there are some that need to go to jail, but those are the ones who are not trying at all. So you can't throw everybody in the same basket. I would put into the sheriff's office standards for all of our deputies. We would not just hire folks that we know or we like. We're going to do what we can do to attract the best and the brightest. We're going to train and train some more. And we're going to do those things that will uplift the department at the same time of uplifting the community. We're going to go into our schools. We can put enough manpower in our schools to help make our schools safe. We can do this with reserve officers. We can do this with officers who have retired. There are enough retired officers in this county that I'm sure would not mind working at our schools. There's just so many avenues that we can go about. We have to think outside the box and be prepared to do the hard work, roll up our sleeves and go to work for the people of Marlboro County. I think that if we have a good leader, someone who is trustworthy, someone who will go out there and work and show up for work and not just show up every 4 years, then I think we'll do a better job of serving the people.
Thank you, Mr. Pauling. Mr. Crosland, same question.
Well, one of the roles for sheriff would be He's the governing body for a whole county. With that being said, he has to have communication with the chief of the city of Bennettsville, the chief of McCall, and also the chief in Clio. They need to sit down and incorporate ideas that will help the community, such as mentoring the youth, taking care of the elderly, making some type of safe action plans to where people feel safe when they go out in the public. Because right now we're living in a bad time. We need to be able to, as I say, rebuild the trust back in our communities with law enforcement. Because right now, our community doesn't trust law enforcement. And it starts at the top. Sheriff and the chiefs or the other smaller agencies need to sit down and put things in perspective. What comes first? Our community comes first, our children, and then we move forward as that. We need to incorporate positive ideas. Things that's going on around us, a lot of shootings. Our youth out here in the streets shooting at each other. It's gonna get out of hand. If we don't do nothing, if we don't take a stand of action right now, we're gonna be lost. The role of sheriff is to be that beacon of light, bring some hope to the community, to solve problems when they happen, to address things when they need to be addressed, not by just sitting here looking and wondering what's going on. To involve ourselves, we need to be in the community, talking to our elderly people, talking to the youth, going into the schools. We need that. We need structure. We need to be understanding. We need to have that dedication and commitment. One thing I can say is being a sheriff, we look at, he's the head official of the county, and that's true. But with that being said, he can't do it all by himself. So that's why we incorporate talking to the chief of police in Bennettsville, talking to the chief of police in Clio, because as you know, the city has problems also. Clio has problems. McCall has problems. But as one, we can solve a lot of problems and get a lot of things done. Knocking on doors, talking to people, asking what's going on, they'll be glad to talk to you. Just take time out and do it. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crosland. Mr. Love, same question.
My role as sheriff would be, first and foremost, is the safety and well-being of the citizens. To get officers out, more officers on the street, to make our school resource officers be teaching DARE and bullying programs in the school, to get a handle on the crime with the drug problem, the shootings, the burglaries, all that, cut down response time, all that, and basically to bring the community and law enforcement back together, not just the sheriff's department, but all the agencies.
Thank you, Mr. Love.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk to our clerk of court candidates. Ms. Williams, talk to us about your understanding of what your roles and responsibilities would be if reelected to the position. Once again, Ms. Williams, unmute yourself, love. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to say that I've worked hard all these years supporting Marlboro County and the clerk's office. And I do enjoy my roles and responsibilities in this office. I'm responsible for all the criminal records, civil records, family court records, and the real estate records that we have in this county. I've worked with the state to where these items are now viewable online. The real estate records, you can look at them online, and it keeps a lot of people from having to leave their homes. They can just research stuff right online with the clerk's office. All of our records are permanent records, so it doesn't leave any room for making a mistake. You're messing with people's lives in here. Anything that you put on record, it's permanent, it's there. So everything has to be accurate. I would like to continue to work with the state to enforce the child support payments. I think everybody's aware everything goes through Columbia now, but we still have to work with them to help enforce the child support. I just enjoy working for the public, and I would continue to do that. And that's what I'm devoted to, is just helping the public of this county. I love Marlboro County, It's small, but it's home. I was born and raised here.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Williams.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lyles, same question. What would be your roles and responsibilities if elected to the clerk of court?
Being a clerk, in my opinion, being a clerk is all about being a good manager. You have so many so many different job duties that you have to do, or so many departments you have to be over. And I have experience managing budgets. I managed one of my jobs. I was the manager for over 30 people. I manage state grants, federal grants. I have experience in most of the duties that's required as being a manager. So I believe that if I'm elected, I can use that experience. I can use my experience in education to, effectively manage the clerk's office. I would look at different stuff that we're doing bad and develop action plans so we can get stuff back more efficiently. Ms. Lawson, can you mute your mic? Yeah, so as I was saying that if I'm elected as the clerk of court, I would use everything I learned about in leadership programs and all that stuff, and I would apply those same skills to the clerk's office, pretty much analyzing what we're doing now, figuring out where we want to be, and developing a plan to get there.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lyles. We have just one more question that I want to pose to the candidates, and of course it has to do with voting. In order for any of you to be elected to your position, you certainly need the votes to get you there. There are 19,000 registered voters in Marlboro County, and as of today, 600 have voted absentee. And so we are all educated. We can do the math from 600 to 19,000. That's a big gap. And there's a lot that we need to do in between that time to get us where we need to be. And so hearing those numbers, talk to us a little bit about your plan. What would you do to appeal to those voters who are undecided, number one, those voters who are uninterested in voting? What would you do? What would be your plan, not only to get them to vote, but to vote for you? Talk to us a little bit about that. And we'll start a little bit in reverse. Let's start with Ms. Williams here.
Okay, I think voting is very important. I have worked for an elected official since I was 17 years old. I'll be 59 next week. The last 4 years I've spent as an elected official. I think it's very important for people to vote. Just, it's an expression, expressing your opinion of how you think a person should be in office. I have talked to people and talked to them and told them the importance of voting these days. There's just a lot going on in the world, and you need to have dependable people in office. And the only way to do that is to get out, you work hard, and you really talk to people and make them understand the importance of the voting process. When they don't vote, they really, I hate to say it, but they really don't need to express their opinion about how governments are run, whether it's national, state or local. But it's very important for people to vote, and I tell everyone that.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Mr. Lyles?
Yes, I've been working with voting campaigns or in trying to encourage the public to vote since most of my life, even my teenage years, from phone banking, calling people, asking them to vote, from hosting or participating in different events. And I'm going to do that regardless of if I'm a candidate or not. I'm still going to encourage people to vote. But what I believe is that one of the problems is that this is too late in the game. You can't wait till election season and then trying to encourage people to vote. You're supposed to give them a reason to vote before it's election season, and you're not going to have that problem. So regardless of who's elected, you need to be out there doing stuff for the community, showing them that you're here for them. So when next time it comes around, they have a reason to vote. Because if people with no hope, they don't care if someone trying to ask them to vote, because they don't see what they're getting out of it. So you have to show people, you have to be there for people up front so you can get their vote in return.
Thank you. Mr. Crosland, same question.
Yes, ma'am. Let me start by saying this. One of the proudest moments I had was when my son and I stood at the voter registration office and voted together, and he's 19, and he was voting for a school board chair. That was my proudest moment, and he actually called me to meet him there to vote. So when I went to meet him, he said, "Dad, you want to go in and vote?" We walked in and went to the booth, and I stood and looked to my left. And that was a very proud moment for me because I didn't have to tell him what to do or didn't twist his arm what to do. Young people are interested in voting because of the candidates. If you go knock on the door, talk to somebody about 10, 15 minutes, they're interested in what this young man can do or what this young lady can do. As I learned through this journey, knocking on doors, talking to people is very energetic for me because you get to know people. I worked in Bennettsville. I was raised in Bennettsville, so I know a lot of people. But when I started outstretching like places like Wallace, Clio, Tatum, Blenheim, McCall, some people knew who I was and knew my intentions, some didn't. And I gave my introduction, I introduced myself and had a conversation with them. A lot of that comes from talking to people. Like Mr. Lyle said, you can't be in office for 4 years and then you start on your last year trying to talk to people, unless you have your clientele built to that solid platform where you don't have to. I don't have a solid platform, is that I have to go out and reach people who don't know me. And I think I've done successfully well with that because people are genuine, people are kind. And through this course of my journey, I haven't had any bad remarks. When I knock on doors, I gave people information. I stood there for 15, 20 minutes. I stood there for the 30, 40 minutes. I stood there for an hour because people want to talk. If I would have stood there and just said, "Hey, 2 or 3 minutes, I'm gone," they'd have been like, "Wait, he can't take time to listen to me now." But when they get in office, I know he ain't gonna listen to me. So if that person want to talk for an hour, I'm gonna listen for an hour. If they want to talk for 2 hours, I'm gonna stand there and listen. It's important because people have things they want to say, they have ideas, they have concerns, and being a candidate, you hear the negative. I don't participate in that because I feel as though I'm there to represent who I am. Even though I stand there and listen, but I don't condone, or do I even make any comments on some things that were said about another candidate. That's not me. But when I always leave, I say, please pray for us because it's 4 candidates: Love, Paulin, myself, and Lemon. I always say that. And you always get positive feedback because you don't have nothing negative to say. Guess what? You spark their interest, and then they'll pick up the phone and call somebody and say, "Look, Crossing just came by here. He all right guy." But it goes from there. You have to be attentive to what people are looking for. You have to understand how they feel, what they don't see, what they're not getting. You have to just take a minute to listen to them because all they want to do is be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crosland. Mr. Love?
Yes, ma'am. Basically, I look at voting like this. There's only one way you're gonna bring change, and that's to vote. You got to look back at the last 3 years or whatever the term is, and ask yourself: has things got better in our life, in our county? If it hasn't, then vote people in office that's going to do it, make things better. We got to hold our local leaders accountable for what they are doing. And we all have an opinion of whether somebody's doing their job or whether somebody's not doing their job, or who we believe would be a better in that position. And if you get out there and vote, then it's your voice. It's your vote. That's the only way we're gonna make things better. Because at the end of the day, we work for the taxpayers, the voters. And that's the only way you're going to hold them accountable.
Thank you, Mr. Love.
Thank
Mr. Pauling?
Well, I guess I can piggyback off of what each of the candidates have already said, but it's very disheartening when you go out and you campaign. As you know, I run in 2016, and I had to run hard. Even though I live here in Tatum, I worked 25 years for the Hartsville Police Department. So a lot of people knew me, but they didn't know me from a law enforcement perspective. So I run hard. I went out and I knocked on doors. I enjoy talking to folks, and a lot of them, like Mr. Crossland said, they want to be heard. You know, they want somebody to listen to them. And I've heard so many horror stories as I've gone around the county about folks and what they've been facing and how they feel like they're all alone. And the Clio area where they had to close the bank because they said they didn't have enough security. And then you've got things going on in the outlying areas of McCall and Wallace. And those folks want to see some type of representation, some type of law enforcement. And that I don't understand it at the end of the day when we have so many people who are registered to vote and they don't go vote. And that's the thing that bothers me as a candidate, where someone could win this election or any other election with absentee ballots, where people will not go to the polls and vote. And you can offer people rides, and you can send people to pick people up, and you can walk them to the polls. You know, you can do everything right, but they can still win this thing with absentee ballots. And to me, that's not right. And if you're not interested enough in your county, and you think everything is perfect, then I can see you not wanting to vote. But if you have children to go to these schools and grandchildren to go to these schools, if you have elderly people in your family, and I know for a fact people going to bed hungry at night, we throw away enough food at the schools to feed the county, okay? It's time for change. It is very disheartening when people don't go vote. So, I mean, I'll keep at it. I'm pretty sure my fellow candidates will keep at it, and sometimes we cross paths, and sometimes it looks like we just crisscrossing the county. And it's not that we're not out there knocking on doors. We're doing it because we want it, you know. And I tell you right now, it will be a pleasure to work with both Mr. Sammy Crossland and Henry Love, because they go-getters, and I can see it. They want it. And we're going to keep doing what we got to do, and hopefully the people will come out and vote. I'm begging them to vote.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pauling. And thank you all of the candidates for your open and honest and transparent responses on tonight. I know our community will be very excited to engage in our meeting and hear from you about your platforms and what you plan to do if certainly you are elected. And then lastly, of course, the appeals that you made to our community to get out and vote, not only just in general, but to vote for you. And so again, we thank you tonight for your responses, and we'll turn it back over to Ms. Lawson.
Thank you so very much, and thank you every one of you for the great job as presenting yourself in such a dignified manner. And continuing on that note about voting, we'll now have Representative Hennigan, who's going to encourage us about voting, and not only voting, but the 2020 census. Turn it over to you, Ms. Hennigan.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think all of you did a super job. I appreciate listening to you. Listen to the things that you had to say. If you're elected in these positions, I thought you did a very good job. I want to thank Ms. McGee's also, because she brought something that I was going to bring out, and that is 19,000 people are registered to vote in Marlboro County, but we only have about 600 absentees. We fought hard, desperately, to be able to say that you can vote absentee. We stayed on the floor last week forever discussing absentee ballots, trying to make it so that we could vote by mail for everything, and you wouldn't have to come out. And all of that, even though we failed to get that in, we were able to get in that for the primary, that we can vote absentee ballot without having any reason except you just need to vote because of the coronavirus. That's number one. But the next thing I want you to know is that voting is our right, and it's our power. And we don't need to give that power away to anyone else. And one of the things I do want you to know that filling out the voting and the census go hand in hand. Both of them give power to a community. And that is important because, number one, as Marian Wright Elderman said, and I'll never forget this, and her words were, people who don't vote have no line of credit with people who are elected and thus pose no threat to those who act against our interests if you don't vote. And I want to encourage people to get out and remember in 2016, the record shows that we didn't vote. Minorities did not vote in 2016. There were 765,000 less voters in 2016 than it was in 2012. So if you want change to happen, you have to vote. If you want change to happen, you're going to have to fill out the census. I want to give you some indication of what happens when you vote and when you fill out the census. But the census is the one I'm going to talk about now. If you want a leader, a legislator that continues to live in your community, you need to fill out the census. If not, you may have someone from Horry County or any place they decide, because those lines determine what will happen, who will represent you if we fail to fill out the census. If you want Medicaid to continue, fill out your census. If you want Section 8 voucher, fill them out. If you want a hospital in our area, fill out your census. If you want health care centers, fill it out. If you want student loans to continue, fill it out. If you need new schools in your district, fill out the census. If you want a national school lunch program, fill it out. If you want to continue having Head Start, fill out the census. If you want crime victim assistance, fill it out. If children want business loans and you want business loan, fill out the census. All these things are determined by the census. We want grocery stores in our community. We complain that there are not enough of them. Fill out the census. If you want to be able to have nice restaurants, fill out the census. Look at the areas that have filled it out and what they have in their community. If we want movie theaters, fill out the census. That's just giving you a little idea of what the importance of the census. It is so important for you to be able to fill it out. But I want to give you some data. I want each one of you that's on the line to take a pen and pencil right now and write this down. Each person in our community, whether they were just born or whether they're 100, are worth $1,500 when you fill out the census. That's time, and I'm going to do it times 10 years because we do the census every 10 years. That's $15,000. Now I want you to take $15,000 times just 10 people failing to fill out the census. That's $150,000. But now take that 1,500 times 10 years times 400 people. That's $6 million that you failed to bring into your community. So when you fail to fill out the census, you have no right. As Marian Wright Elderman said, you have no right to complain about the voting. You have no right to complain what we have in our community. Fill out the census. If you're having problems, we'll help you. I was able to get a form from Miss Pearlie Lawson. And this, if you're having problems, all you need to do is call one of us. My number is 843-439, excuse me, 439-2948. Miss Lawson will give you her number, but we will be glad to fill it out for you. There are only a few things that it's asking, excuse me. It's only a few things that they're asking you. Your name, your telephone number, your number of people living in your home, in your household, your age, your sex, your race, and that's it. You know, they won't ask you anything about your social security number. They won't ask anything about your mama. What's your mama's maiden name? They won't ask you anything about how much money you may have in your account. If they do, you need to get rid of them. And this is not about political party. This is about getting funds into your community. So I urge you, please call someone, ask for help, so that we can help you to fill out this census. The census is so important. And like I said, it is just as important as if to vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And forgive my voice. I've been talking all day long. I had to meet with the governor today and several others. So please forgive my voice.
Thank you for being so thorough, Ms. Hennigan, with the census and the information about voting. There's nothing more that I need to add other than to say that we'll be in communities helping with when there's food giveaways. We'll be there in your community, a group of us from Clio, trying to target the Tatum area, especially the Tatum, Blenheim, and the Clio area. We need you. Please complete your Census 2020 form. We will assist you with that. And just to add a note with the voting, just for the candidates, just want to say that for everyone who is listening in today, that if you are going to vote, be sure that you request whether you want to vote in the Democratic or the Republican primary. Please
Both.
request.
They can do it at the same time.
Right, but what I'm meaning for this June election, you have to decide whether you're Democratic or whether you're Republican. And then other than that, when you absentee voting, you go on and vote for your absentee, and you will be able to vote cross-party lines then. But just want to make sure that everyone was clear about that. And again, candidates will give you 5 to 10 seconds to say, each of you to say just a push for it for you, or just anything that you would like to say, and within 5 to 10 seconds, and then we will end our meeting. It's been a productive meeting. I want to again thank each of you for this opportunity to see you and just to hear you and understand what you have, what you aspire to offer to us who are still undecided about why we need to get out and vote and why we need to support you. So, Mr. Crosland, you on the screen first. You want to say just something?
Ma'am, I've been serving since '96. Started my career at the Marlboro County Detention Center, '97, being with the city of Bensfield, and I'm currently here now as a lieutenant Old Patrol. I look forward to serving all the citizens of Marlboro County, and your vote and census is very important. So please take time out to consider voting for whatever candidate you choose, and also please participate in your census. It's very important. Marlboro County needs strength in numbers, and the only way we can do it is we get out and put action into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Williams, please.
I would just like to echo what Mr. Crossland just said. We need a lot more in our community for our youth, and even for us adults. We need more activities. That census is very important, and I have encouraged all of my employees to do it. I had one yesterday to do it once I explained to her how important it was, and she just didn't realize it. But she did hers, and it didn't take 5 minutes to do it.
Thank you. Mr. Paulin. Mr. Paulin.
Man. All right. Just want to say thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate y'all putting on this forum for us. I like to extend my best wishes to all the candidates. Pray for our strength. And as you were saying about the census, please fill out your census. Please vote. All that goes back into the crime rate. If we had the jobs here, we can cut down on our crime rate. We can get back into doing things that we need to do that are productive. And I thank you for the opportunity. Godspeed.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Pegues.
Well, I'm not running for office. It's been a pleasure to moderate this forum on tonight. I just definitely want to echo everything that the candidates has said thus far, especially when you talk about the children. I am an employee of the Children's Defense Fund, and we work closely in the community with the school district. And so I'm always going to be pushing for anything that we can do, especially when it comes to voting as it pertains to children. So be sure that you're getting out, that you're taking a friend and taking a friend and taking a friend to the polls, or if you're going to do absentee, be sure that everybody has an absentee party. Make it something, you know, a big thing, however you're going to do it, but make sure you get it done. Because we all have to put our numbers in and we all have to raise our voice. And not only that, but we definitely need to make sure that we complete our census, because as Representative Hennigan shared and all of the candidates have echoed thus far, it is critically important to the future of Marlboro County and what we want to see. So again, if you have not decided to do so, hopefully something that we've shared tonight has led you to do it.
Thank you. Mr. Lyles.
Yes, I want to say thank you for those who joined the meeting and allowed us to have this, to use this as a platform to get our message out. I would like to say to those who watching, you know, get out, complete the census, and please, I will continue.
Right.
Did my stuff go out?
All right, thank you. Mr. Love.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for giving all of us, the candidates, a chance to address the voters and everything, and address, you know, why we are running for office. Regardless of who you choose to vote for, you got to vote. That's the only way we're going to bring a change. It's the only way anything's going to get better. And I believe, you know, I can honestly say for myself, Mr. Croswell, Mr. Pauling, Mr. Lyles, Miss Williams, that in our own way, we all care about Marlboro County. We all want Marlboro County a better and safer place to live and raise a family. And if we didn't, we wouldn't be running for office. And just, I can't emphasize it enough. Please get out and vote, no matter who you choose to vote for. Because like Ms. Hennigan said, it's not a party line. It's not a Democrat thing. It's not a Republican thing. This is a Marlboro County issue. And that's the only way we can straighten things out, is to get out there and vote. So once again, I'd like to say thank you to all the candidates for joining with me and with y'all, and for letting us have this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Hennigan?
Yes, thank you. I want to do it as a commercial type break, you know, when you have that.
All right, make it quick.
Okay, I'm gonna make it real quick. I just want you to know, we're gonna be doing testing in Marlboro County very soon. And I just want to say that and tell them to look at your page, look on the NAACP page, look at your page and my page, and we will be doing it, and I can give you the date. The other thing is that we will be having Memorial Day celebrations on Monday at the courthouse at 9 o'clock, and also at the Marlboro County School District office at 9 o'clock. So I would love for you all to try to attend both of those activities and let the veterans know how important they are in our lives and what they have done for us. Thank you. And thank you for giving me that opportunity to say that.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you everyone for making this a success. And I thank God for each of you and everything. So at this time, I will end the meeting. I want to say goodbye to everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson.
Thank you. Bye-bye.